Good afternoon and welcome to CoreTV News at 4. I am Olajmoke Olatunji. The Elections Petition Tribunal sitting in Ishabo, Abeokuta, Ogun State, has nullified the election of Senator Burji Kashamu, representing Ogun East Senatorial District in the Red Chamber. The tribunal has ordered to rerun elections in 110 polling units of the Senatorial District. We will bring you details in our subsequent bulletins. The Lagos State National Assembly Election Petitions Tribunal has upheld the declaration of Femi Gbajabiamila as the winner of the March 28, 2015 House of Representatives election in the Surulere Federal Constituency 1. The Justice C.U. Anwonka-led three-man tribunal rejected the petition challenging the victory of Gbajabiamila and his party, the All Progressives Congress, in the said election. Gbajabiamila, who is now the majority leader of the House of Representatives, was declared winner of the said election by the Independent National Electoral Commission after pulling 21,715 votes. The candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Tony Ashikodi, who polled 14,550 votes to emerge the first runner-up, rejected the result and headed for the tribunal to challenge Gbajabiamila's victory. Now, nominees on the ministerial list have been lobbying senators representing their state ahead of next week's screening exercise. Now, Senior Special Assistant to the President on National Assembly Affairs, Ita Ernang, dropped the hint while briefing journalists on Friday. He also maintained that the presidency cannot question the Senate's decision to demand assets declaration forms of the nominees. We'll also bring you details of that report subsequently. Now, moving on, the senator representing Lagos West Senatorial District, Solomon Diola, has called on the 8th National Assembly to immediately seek the activation and operation of the National Assembly Budget and Research Office, NABRO, to ensure that the legislature fulfill its mandate for effective legislation and representation. Adiola, who spoke while contributing to the debate and legislative agenda for the 8th Senate, said beyond making laws and oversight, a major function of the legislature is the power of the purse, which is the power to appropriate funds through budgets, adding that the executive will always want the yearly budget to be passed without scrutiny of the legislature. A situation he foresees will end with the operation of NABRO, which is the equivalent of USA Congressional Budget Office. He added that the legislative arm of government cannot afford to lose the power of the purse, and NABRO will assist in critical scrutiny of appropriation as well as medium-term expenditure framework. The Northern Governors Forum has inaugurated a committee on the review of criminal justice system in the region. The chairman of the forum, Kashim Shettima, inaugurated the committee, which comprises of attorney generals and commissioners of justice of all the states in northern Nigeria. Shettima, who is also the Borno State Governor of Borno, told members of the committee that they have 3 months to turn in a report to the Governors Forum on the ongoing counter-insurgency operation in the state. The governor expressed satisfaction in places like Bama, Mate, and Baga, which assist by the insurgents, have since been retaken by the military. The Senate is to adopt 2 modalities for the screening and confirmation of ministerial nominees. It says provisions of the 1999 Constitution, especially Section 147, subsection 1, and Section 120 of the Senate Standing Rules will be fundamental in the process slated for next week. National Assembly correspondent Basiaye reports.
Just before the senators settled down for the business of the day, Senate leader Ali Ndume raised a motion for an executive session. The closed-door session lasted for almost 2 hours before regular activities commenced, without any reference to what was discussed. It was not until the end of plenary before the purpose and outcome of the session was revealed. According to the spokesman of the Senate, Dino Melaye, it was a necessary step towards developing a procedure for the screening of ministerial nominees next week. To this end, relevant sections of the 1999 Constitution and extant rules of the Senate will be adopted.
Section 14.3 is going to be another very fundamental instrument in the screening of ministers by the grace of God to be as from Tuesday. We are also going to consider Section 65 of the 1999 Constitution. Section 65 of the Constitution is clear. It says, subject to the provision of Section 66 of this Constitution, a person shall be qualified for election as member of, because what the Constitution is saying is that anyone who must be a member of, or rather a minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria must first qualify to be a member of the House of Representatives, meaning all conditions and conditionalities that empower you to run for the office of member of the House of Representatives must be fulfilled before you can become a minister of the Federal Republic.
He also brought up other issues to be considered at the confirmation hearing.
The Federal Republic of Nigeria shall be our ultimate interest, and we are going to do all this in public interest. So we have received a number of petitions, and those petitions are going to be looked into, and it will also guide us. The veracity of those petitions will also guide our proceedings during the screening exercise.
The screening and confirmation of 21 ministerial nominees is scheduled to begin on Tuesday, October 13. Basiaye, CoreTV News, Abuja.
Senate President Bukola Saraki has directed the Committee on Ethics, Privileges and Public Petitions to treat all petitions against ministerial nominees before Tuesday, October 13. Now, this was after the Senate formally received a petition from some groups in Kaduna against the nomination of a special advisor to the UN Secretary-General, Amin Ibrahim, for a cabinet position. The petition, which is the second received in as many days, was delivered by Senator Danjuma Law, representing Kaduna South.
The petition is against who?
The nominee of Kaduna State.
Against who?
Against Amina Mohammed. It is indicated through the complainants.
Okay. Yeah, just come out late. There's no judicial remedy being sought, is there?
No.
Okay.
Now, reactions and counter-reactions played out from Nigerians across board over the ministerial nominee list ruled out by the Senate President on Tuesday when it resumed plenary in October, having received the list from the President on 30th of September. From some Nigerians, it was not only about regional, age and gender balance, it was more about the integrity record of the nominees. Now, prominent among them is the former governor of Lagos State and Rivers State, Babatunde Fashola and Rotimi Amechi, who have recently been alleged of corrupt practices. But for Olukayode Salako and Bumi Ajayi, the issue plays out differently to them.
If the PDP have positioned themselves to be attacking all the APC nominees and all of that, it is normal. But I want to assure you that the Senate will clear all those ministerial nominees, because right now they are the best for Nigeria. Buhari knows what he's doing. He can't just put anybody there. The people he has put there are the architects of the change revolution movement in Nigeria. These are the people who have the master plan of what Buhari wants to do in this government.
If you look at another 15, it's quite a lot. I have just 21, another 15 is quite a lot. And those 15 can make a difference to the structural arrangement and things like that people are raising, youth, women. Those 15 can be used to deal with those issues. So I would rather, at this stage, wait, get my the complete list, then I will.
The House of Representatives is set to revisit the controversial $470 million surveillance camera contract for Abuja and Lagos. Thus, according to the lawmakers, is against the backdrop of the recent multiple bomb attacks in two satellite towns at the outskirts of the Federal Capital Territory. Two House members raised a joint motion on the matter.
Mr. Speaker, my colleagues, it is very sad and painful. When you go along the street, you will see some level of installation. These installations are till date not working. I believe that as a house, in the interest of this great nation, we must go the extra mile. Find out the terms and conditions of those particular contracts that we sign with these companies. Because we cannot keep paying out for something that we have not had value for. It is extremely important that we believe, or rather create the opportunity to deal with these people. Because at the end of the day, those loans itself that we took were repatriated back to China. I find it so unacceptable, and I appeal to my colleagues that please this level of some kind of imperialism or economic exploitation, we must find a final solution to. If we have to pay for something, definitely we should get the value. If we are not going to get value, then there is no need to pay. So I believe that the time and hour has come for us to look at the terms of those loans that we have taken, so that we can address this issue once and for all. A stitch in time saves 9. The era of exploitation has come and gone. We will never allow this anymore.
So I would also lend my voice to say that this is one motion, this is one issue that we must look at very critically. But in looking at it critically, Mr. Speaker, sir, I also think that we need to look at most of the other agreements that were signed and to ensure and reactivate that any bilateral agreement or treaty that is signed on behalf of this country shall not have the full effect until it has been brought before Parliament and Parliament has had its input.
Kogi State Governor Idris Wada is banking on a level playing field by the federal government and President Muhammadu Buhari ahead of the governorship elections slated for November 21. Wada is contesting on the platform of the People's Democratic Party against former Governor Abubakar Audu of the All Progressives Congress, but he is convinced of victory. He told State House correspondents after meeting with President Buhari that he is sure the election will be free and fair. I'll bring you details of that report subsequently. Now, Speaker of the ECOWAS Parliament, Senator Ike Ekweremadu, has reassured the international community of the commitment of President Muhammadu Buhari-led government to stamp out terrorism and insurgency from Nigeria. He said the sub-regional body is also alive to his responsibility of stemming the tide of terror in West Africa. Senator Ekweremadu gave the assurance at a two-day high-level seminar on peace, security and sustainable development organized by the Association of European Parliamentarians with Africa in Brussels, Belgium. Fielding questions as a panelist on the sub-theme, the consequences of violent extremism and terrorism, he said the Buhari administration had built on the efforts of the previous government and shown the will to end the twin evils of insurgency and terrorism. We'll go for a quick break. I'll be back on more stories. Please stay with us.
Every day, every hour, and every minute, news break in Nigeria. Things happen so fast, it's most times difficult to track and comprehend them. But that's what we do right here on Digit 360. 2015, would you want to come back again?
It's like asking Jesus Christ if he knew he was going to die, will you want to come back as the savior of the world again?
We do not just help you track the stories, we break them down, explore all the angles, analyze the issues so that you can fully comprehend the stories and use them to make the right decisions.
This is what the people are saying.
You don't run a big economy with generator. They need to do more in terms of energy and power.
Many things to do for this Nigeria about lights, water, and new TT.
For Nigerians that are not gullible, we know that good laws have done nothing good for this country.
Buhari won the election convincingly.
Talk to our husband that you should keep promise about what you said, and because people are watching you, you know, another election is coming.
Because some people will stand for Yoruba land, will be strong man, you don't die.
This nation is moving forward. The best is going to take place.
The people giving voice to the voiceless.
Thank you for joining us again. Now, for more on the news and other programs, please visit our Facebook page at www.facebook.com/CoreTV News. You can follow us on Twitter at CoreTV News NG. Also visit our YouTube channel at youtube.com/CoreTV, leave a space, then news. The Cross River State government has exempted the poor from paying taxes in the state. It is also preparing grounds to provide them with free housing with a view to giving them a better life. Governor Benedict Ayade disclosed this to State House correspondent after meeting with President Muhammadu Buhari. He added that despite the current environmental challenges in the state, he is committed to improving the lives of the citizens.
For me, for the level of poverty in this country, I think true government must originate from the bottom up. True transformation must be that kind of transformation that those people who live under bridges, treetops, in very desolate situations, in subhuman conditions, that you have provided a new platform for them to have the dignity of humanity. That is only then you can call yourself government, and that is when you have brought transformation to government. And that's why I signed in Cross River State to provide houses for the poor at no cost. It is also the same me who signed into law a bill that I originated to exempt the poor people from tax. Because for any government that taxes our people to prosperity, you have failed to exploit the alternative potentials that we got as a state. And therefore, the idea of taking a market woman, a small keke napep driver, and putting pressure on them to pay tax, you take all of that tax to government. Government already has her own chunk of money, and then you exploit the poor. But don't forget that any government that taxes our people also has a responsibility within the context of social harmony to also provide for them.
The high population in Lagos State appears not to be the only distinguishing factor for a constant situation of traffic gridlock which has left many residents disgruntled. While previous administrations have tried different means of ending the menace, the problem remains unabated. With the new government of Akinwumi Ambode, residents in Lagos observe that the evaluation in the past of last small officials in Lagos has turned the situation from bad to worse as commercial motorists flout traffic rules with impunity, compounding the problem of vehicular movement. But a town planning expert, Bumi Ajayi, past governors failed to deal with the problem from its root.
For more than 30 years, or even 40 years, Lagos has got transportation planning wrong. I remember when I was in the Federal Civil Service, there was a Lagos Metropolitan Transport Master Plan. And I told my comments on that master plan was, go and reduce the need for movement. Don't think you can ever accommodate all movement. But unfortunately, the Lagos State government at various stages have been made themselves believe that they can accommodate all movements, and it has never been done anywhere in the world. So all over the world now, what they're doing planning-wise is that they're now having medium density development. They're now allowing mixed uses, so that you will not need to travel, you know. So until we get our bearing right and plan in the proper way, it's going to be like that. Furthermore, the Lagos State government is not even has not consciously arranged for parking. That is where people can park, and therefore people park regularly on the high road, therefore creating traffic at the back. So I think we just have to get back, then look at it. How long did it take Lagos State government before they now know that they need water transport? Jakande started it. After he left, the thing died. Whilst if right from day one, water transport has been given a priority, the problem will be less.
Now, Chief of Army Staff Lieutenant General Teko Buratai is commending the management of the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency for its effort in combating piracy and other criminal activities on Nigeria's waterways. General Buratai said this when the Acting Director General of NIMASA, Haruna Babajaro, paid a working visit to the Army headquarters. Also assured NIMASA of the cooperation of the Army in curbing criminal activities, especially the creeks, where barges and other watercraft are used to commit crimes like crude oil theft and piracy. The Army Chief also used the opportunity to appeal to the management of the NIMASA and other corporate organizations to assist with the resettlement of the internally displaced persons through the corporate social responsibility programs in order to have them properly reintegrated into the society. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) opposed bids by Mahmoud Tekar and 4 other defendants standing trial in a 1.5 billion subsidy scam. To quash charges preferred against them, the other defendants are Ochonogo Alex, Abdullahi Alao and their companies. Tekar's counsel, Obeyi, alongside Ebunade Guruwa and Aderemi Oguntoye, counsels to Ochonogo and Alao, respectively, prayed to court to quash the charges against their client. Adeguruwa argued that the charges were quashed to alternatively strike out Ochonogo's name from the charges. Now, creativity and understanding of universal and timeless artworks are qualities hardly given the right attention in most developing countries in the world. And Fortune in Nigeria, the National Museum located in Lagos, was created to showcase collections of art, statues, and carvings to bring it out reports subsequently. Now let's go to business. Oil giant Royal Dutch Shell has asked ship owners exporting its Nigerian oil to sign a letter of comfort to guarantee that its oil is not stolen. An email from the company sent by Reuters has shown. The email read, "Please be informed we expect LPG and product ship owners to sign the NNPC log for any future Shell loading. This content, according to the email, is for premium yearly subscription, basic yearly subscription, basic monthly subscription, premium monthly subscription, premium plus monthly subscription, and premium plus yearly subscription members only." The Nigerian Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative says the federal government lost $966 million in revenue from the crude oil swap deal between 2009 and 2012. NATIV's Communications Director Orji Ogbonaya Orji made a disclosure in Lagos at the Forum on Subsidy organized by Media for Oil Reform in collaboration with School of Media Communication, Pan Atlantic University. Ogbonaya said there had been public concern when it became apparent that the objective of the arrangement was being compromised. He explained that in 2012 alone, the cost of crude oil swap was $6.4 billion, while value of refined products returned to Nigeria was $6.3 billion. This, he says, less the sum of $100 million is revenue loss incurred by government. He maintained that similar concerns were raised with subsidy payment, noting that NATIV's audit reports disclosed the 4 trillion naira was oil subsidy payment between 2006 and 2012. The NATIV media director says the Transparency Initiative audit also revealed that NNPC claimed the total sum of 1.7 trillion was paid as subsidy between 2006 and 2012. He said the government needed to conduct an in-depth investigation into the management of subsidy payments and ensure the NNPC follows due process in the PSF scheme. We'll take another quick break. I'll be back with stories from outside Nigeria. Please stay with us.
You can now watch CoreTV News live from anywhere in the world on our website www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to CoreTV Primetime Days.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click CoreTV, leave a space, then News. CoreTV News, a 24-hour news station.
Welcome back now for stories outside Nigeria. Migration experts say the number of migrants arriving on the Greek islands near Turkey has surged to about 7,000 a day in the past week. The International Organization for Migration says the average in late September was 4,500 a day. Fears of worsening weather may account for the surge, the IOM confirms. The EU's migrant relocation scheme gets underway on Friday when 20 Eritreans left Italy on a flight to Sweden. Some EU member states object to the scheme. Meanwhile, Turkey has voiced concerns about the potential for even more Syrian migrants arriving at its border because of Russian airstrikes in Syria. The warning was issued by Turkish Foreign Ministry spokesman Tanju Bilkic. Turkey already hosts about 2 million Syrian refugees, many of whom are desperate to leave the emergency camps and start a new life in Europe. India's foreign ministry has complained to the Saudi Arabian authorities following an alleged brutal attack on a 58-year-old Indian woman in Ridesh. Kasturi Munitarian flies was chopped off, allegedly by her employer, when she tried to escape from their house last week. Moni Ratena was working as a domestic help is now recovering in hospital. Her family also alleged that she was being tortured by her Saudi employers. Saudi authorities, however, has not commented on the incident yet. And the Nobel Peace Prize has been awarded to Tunisia's National Dialogue Quartet for helping the country's transition to democracy. The Nobel Committee said the group of civil society organizations has made a decisive contribution to democracy after the 2011 revolution. It said it helped establish a political process when the country was on the brink of civil war. Tunisia's uprising was the first and most successful of the Arab Spring, while other countries like Libya, Egypt, Yemen, and Syria either reverted to authoritarian rule or descended into violence and chaos. Only Tunisia has managed a successful transition to democracy. The Tunisian Quartet is made up of 4 organizations. They are the Tunisian General Labour Union, the Tunisian Confederation of Industry, Trade and Handicrafts, the Tunisian Human Rights League, and the Tunisian Order of Lawyers. It was created in 2013, 2 years after the revolution, when security in the country was threatened following the assassination of 2 key politicians and deadly clashes between Islamists and secular parts of society. Nigeria and Cameroon will reveal their rivalry when the 2 sides meet in an international friendly at the Stade Edmond Martins in Brussels on Sunday, October 11th. The Super Eagles will be looking to redeem themselves after being humbled by DR Congo on Thursday night, losing 2-0 to the Leopards. It was a game characterized by a lot electric play and a subdued performance that probably resonated from the squabbles in the team's camp few days before the game. Former captain visited Niamey at the fallout with Olise and subsequently left the Eagles camp. A few hours later, he announced his international retirement. The build-up to the game had been chaotic from the start, with players getting injured and Olise having to make do with a tiny squad as he opened camp due to inability of some players to get entry visas to Belgium. Now, FIFA President Sepp Blatter is appealing against his 90-day ban from football's world governing body. The 79-year-old Swiss has been suspended from all duties while FIFA's Ethics Committee investigates corruption claims against its leader. He was suspended on Thursday along with Secretary General Jerome Vach and Vice President Michael Platini. Klaus Stalker, Blatter's friend and advisor Platini, will contest the ban in the appropriate manner at the appropriate time. All 3 had denied any wrongdoings. Blatter won a 5th consecutive presidential election in May, but he announced he would be stepping down just days later following the launch of 2 investigations into FIFA by United States and Swiss authorities. He's due to finish his term on 26th of February when a new president will be elected. Platini, who also heads European football body UEFA, is one of the favorites to replace him and still plans to stand. He has a full backing of UEFA, which is holding an emergency meeting next week. Now, new Liverpool boss Jurgen Klopp has described the Anfield job as the biggest challenge in world football. The 48-year-old German was appointed as Brendan Rodgers' successor on Thursday, signing a 3-year deal worth $15 million. It takes over a side who is 10th in the Premier League with 12 points from 8 games. Klopp told FLCTV, "This is the biggest challenge in football. It is the most interesting job in world football." Klopp will be joined at Anfield by his former Borussia Dortmund assistant, Jelko Kovac, and Peter Ravage said it's not much of a disaster. Liverpool are only 6 points to the top position in the table. Manchester City striker Sergio Aguero suffered a hamstring injury while playing for Argentina in the 2-0 World Cup qualifying defeat by Ecuador. Aguero, who scored 5 days in City's win against Newcastle in the 3rd of October, was carried off after 22 minutes. The 27-year-old is said to have a scan and looks likely to miss Argentina's game against Paraguay next week. Aguero had only returned to fitness after a knee injury early in the season. A statement on the City website says the striker pulled up holding its left hamstring while chasing a long ball downfield. The Premier League leaders are next in action against Bournemouth on 17th of October. Elsewhere in South America, Brazil were beaten 2-0 by Chile in the World Cup qualifier, with Arsenal's Alexis Sanchez and Eduardo Vargas scoring the goals. And finally, before we go, Novak Djokovic raced into the quarterfinals of the China Open with a 55-minute win over home hope Han Xing. The world #1 took his record in Beijing to 26-0 in 5 visits as it beats China's #1 6-2, 6-1. Djokovic, 28, goes on to face Australian John Millman or American John Isner in the last 8. Croatia's Ivo Karlovic became the all-time leader in eggs as he hit 26 to reach 10,247, passing compatriot Joran Ivanović's record of 10,237. But that is a wrap on CoreTV News at 4 minutes. Thanks for watching. I'm Olajuwon Kill. Last year. See you again.